Hey everyone, and welcome back to SQL Squared, where we chat about all things data, development, and the cool tech shaping our world. We love bringing in awesome folks to share their stories and insights, and today is absolutely no exception. I'm your host, David Morkingum, and we're joined by Simon Sabin, the founder of SQLBits. For anyone in the data world, SQLBits needs no introduction. It's one of the largest and most loved data conferences in Europe. Simon, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for inviting me on, David. I'm really looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about SQLBits 2026.
Oh yeah, lots to do this year. So hopefully we can make it bigger and better.
It's great to have you on the show. We're going to be diving into everything SQLBits 2026, I've just mentioned, which is happening from the 22nd to the 25th of April at the ICC Newport in Wales. I was actually there in 2023, which was at the same venue. It's a fantastic place. And as someone who's from the South Wales Valleys myself, it's brilliant to see such a major event happening practically on my doorstep. And I'm personally very excited to see what's in store. On that note, today we'll start with an introduction for those who might not be familiar with the event. Then we'll explore the incredible community and opportunities it offers, touch on the key learning tracks and hot topics for 2026, and even get a little peek behind the scenes, hopefully. We'll also have a bit of fun along the way, so definitely stick around for that. Jumping straight in then, again, for those who might not know what SQLBits is, so let's just start with some of the basics. Give us a little bit of an elevator pitch for SQLBits. What's its mission?
So its mission is really to connect people, to help them learn. I've been working in data for 30 years, and it's longer every time I say that. It's quite interesting. And I was always aware that there's obviously a single DBA in the village, an app like Welsh thing, and you're invariably on your own. And how do you know how to do things? And industry changes, and therefore connecting people and educating people is really important. Our focus is on to those in the data industry, helping them succeed. And we think that connecting with more and more like-minded people, learning from the experts, learning what works, what doesn't work, really helps you knock it out of the park.
Well, I've experienced that firsthand. I've been to a few of the conferences in probably within the last 7 years. It's really helped me get things off the ground and learn from other people's experience. And it's helped me a lot with the projects and things that I've done in the past. So I always say to everyone I come across, are you going to SQLBits next year?
Yeah, it's fascinating how what people get out of it. And like and we started this before YouTube and at the time where like there were online forums and things, but there's still a question about like why would you come to SQLBits compared to like just go and watch videos on YouTube. And I think it's come full circle, and SQLBits, I think what's unique about how we do things is how we connect people, and that's really valuable.
Yeah, the community aspect of it makes a big difference. And it was an episode I did a couple of months ago titled "The Data Community, the Best One Out There," because it's a great community and everyone gets along so well, and everybody's so willing to help each other and share knowledge.
Yeah, and I do think I'm quite proud. I think that as a cornerstone of that group of people in the UK and Europe, we sort of have helped push things forward. And I look at other technologies, and they don't necessarily have the same atmosphere, the same community, the same engagement. So
it's important to bring it to as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your role then, I think, as a founder especially, you've got a significant role in making the magic happen, so to speak. It's been quite a few years now since SQLBits first started. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and what you do for SQLBits kind of in the modern era today?
Yeah, so I mean, I sat in a pub like 20-ish years ago with another SQL MVP, Tony Woodson, and so I thought, oh, maybe we can do this tech community thing for attendees, and got a group of us together to volunteer to, in our spare time, put together this conference, and it's grown and grown over the years. And I would say that my roles, I've done different things, focused on sponsors, that focused on the venue, on content over the years, and it's changed quite a bit. I think one of the things that I've always tried to do is push things to be better, be different, which to the dismay of many of us that have been involved, that as a small group of people, we run this with generally I think up to 6-7 people volunteering. If you look at other conferences, they run with teams of people that are working full time. And to make that work, we have to try and make it as easy as possible. But that's a challenge when we're going around different venues around the country. We're going and deciding different content. The industry is changing, so that's always a challenge. But I think one of the things that has kept us going is the fact that we do keep moving forward and getting bigger, and that's primarily my goal, is to just sort of steer the ship and get us to where we need to get to. Look at new venues, things like that.
Got any exciting venues in the pipeline for future years?
Well, it's really hard. I mean, we're going back to Wales this year, and I think you'll agree that when we were there last time, it was a great atmosphere. We took over the whole venue, which means that you just have a really nice experience. There are other places in the country, so we were in Excel last year, but a little bit of the whole venue, and it's nowhere near the same experience for attendees. And one of the things we really aim for is for people to be relaxed, and if they're relaxed and they are in a good frame of mind, it means they're good to learn, they're in a right frame of mind to network and talk to people, and all those anxieties you get when you go to a conference become less. And that's a real drive for us, is to remove those anxieties so that people are able to network, learn, and collaborate. Oh yeah, going back to work. So Wales is a great venue, but the venues around the country just they don't quite work. And we used to go to exhibition centres and build our own rooms with pipe and drape. And big feedback we got was that sound was a problem. That meant that people were anxious because they couldn't hear well. And so we sort of decided that we want to sort of steer away from that, but then that really limits where we can go.
I remember the ICC being, as you said, really good for that sort of thing, getting at the whole venue, having all the rooms available, being able to split them out in the way that you wanted, all the screens around, telling people where to go, what talks were on next. It was all orchestrated really, really well. And I hope that is the same, this year coming.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that's the plan that we'll have. We're carrying on the same format we had this year, where we're doing training days across the whole conference. So it gives us a different structure, which should lead to a really good conference. Really looking forward to it.
Amazing.
But yeah, if anyone's got any ideas of venues that they just happen to have in their back pocket, feel free to let me know. There is part of me that wishes we were back in this sort of 500 person conference, and we could just go to Birmingham University.
Yeah,
it was or Manchester. It was like a different ball game back then.
Yeah, it was when you got so many attendees, so many people wanted to come. You need those larger venues.
Yeah, and we always want lots of space. I mean, we don't want people on top of each other.
You don't want people crammed in.
I mean, you go to some conferences and there's this expo that is just loads of people, and you almost just don't want to venture in there because it's just not comfortable.
No, these are the sorts of things that just kind of make people go back year after year. I know, the technology stack evolves and people always want to be learning new things, but at the same time, you need something that feels comfortable and familiar. And I think SQLBits does a very good thing of doing that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it's a standout conference. in the European scene. So yeah, it's grown close. Well, it's close to a lot of people's hearts in the industry. Building on top of that community point, how does the event in general help people connect and grow beyond just attending the sessions? So what does SQLBits offer in addition to the sessions to get people together?
Yeah, I mean, I think the overarching theme is that it isn't just the sessions and just the way that we structure the event. We don't have a food hall and an expo, and we have a space which has all food and refreshments, but also has our exhibitors in it, which then just means that it's a place that everyone gathers between sessions and in a, hopefully, that's the feedback we get, a relaxed atmosphere. And that then fosters the ability for people to talk to each other and connect, and it's really positive. Then following on from that, we stream the sessions from the session rooms onto the wall in the expo, so that if you don't necessarily want to go and sit in a room, you can sit on a beanbag watching the session. So you're in a good place in that regard. And then in the evening after the event, we do we'll be doing a board games night on the one night this this year, a pub quiz another, and then a Friday party. And we invite everybody. If you want to bring your partner, if you want to bring your children, like we've had babies in arms before, so it's always been really inclusive. And there's lots of things that we do to make it inclusive. We have a creche, so that if you want to come and you can't because you've got your childcare responsibilities, then come put your child in the creche. We had a lady this year from I think it was from Saudi Arabia, brought her children over in the creche so she could attend the conference. That's the level that we go to make it possible for people to attend. And if you're a sponsor, we treat you the same. You're part of the family, so you get to come to the party. The party's included in the price. It's not £150 for an evening thing. It's all there to make it fun and inclusive. And I'm sure you've been to the party many times, and we tried something different this year. Didn't necessarily work, but we've done it before, and we try and make it fun. It's not just there is a bar in the corner and you bag shaped try and mingle. We try and make it
bring people together,
engaging for people to do and pass the time, because we appreciate as an industry we're somewhat introverted, and so I'm always astounded by how much people get involved in the party, even though we generally are a fairly introverted group.
I love seeing people in fancy dress.
Yeah.
The theme.
And we do a theme every year so that people can dress up. The theme becomes a challenge every year, trying to figure out something that's not.
I can imagine.
And you go through them, and it's like so many just have somewhat slightly inappropriate option, or there's no fancy dress options, or trying to find something for all sexes to make sure that they can all have some way of engaging. It's quite tricky.
I'm sure next year will be as good as any other year.
Yeah, it should be quite fun. Although we did Dungeons and Dragons last time we were in Wales, which is amazingly apt, given the fact that the ICC Wales has a
big dragon,
20-foot dragon sitting outside. But yeah, we're hopefully doing something that's just as fun this year. Looking forward.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to it too. We've talked about the conference. I mean, you mentioned a few of the evenings within the week, going to the Friday and the parties and everything, and those events are including the ticket. But I know that the conference is always on the Saturday as well, and that's a free community day. I think it's very important for SQLBits to offer that free day to people. Lots of people, if the company they work for or they're a freelancer that necessarily can't afford, and for whatever reason, to go to the paid days in the week, that Saturday works really, really well for them. So I was wondering if you could just tell me what makes that Saturday day, so special and required for you.
We started off with just the free Saturday, and then we started adding paid options. Really, our whole model is that we try and get all the things to pay for each other, so that we can end up like we can still do the free Saturday and do the attendees during the week, etc. And when we go to bigger events, that free Saturday becomes the bigger place, the venues. The free Saturday becomes quite an expensive thing, and my commercial head says this is just ludicrous. But as you say, I think it just fosters like the right attitude of getting people to come along and get people involved.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know how to dip their toe in the world, in the community, and that's an easy way of doing it. And that, in conjunction with us moving it around the country, like enables people, in theory, to be able to just like rock up on a Saturday. And we've got the creche, so that if you can't do it because you've got childcare, like bring your kid, we can put them in the creche, and you can attend. And that's like, yeah, like more and more like important. I think interestingly, I mean, we're looking at some numbers this year, like more and more people are moving to the week. I think people value their time, and
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we try and like provide is choice. We understand like people are different, people have different lives, different approaches to things, so that if you want to come in the week, you can come in the week. If you want to come on a Saturday, you can come on a Saturday. If you want this content, we'll provide you this content. If you want to do training days for 4 days, you can do training days. If you want to do general sessions all day, like all week, you can do that. So those things are there to give people choice to fit with how people feel they want to learn best. So yeah, it is instrumental, and I'm always very keen to get people along on the Saturday.
That's a great answer. Resonates with me very closely. The first conference I went to, I think it was actually one in Manchester in 2018, and I only went to the free day on that one. But that kind of really got me in to the conference, and helped me really to, without much pressure, understand what it was all about and what it provided. And it was the same for my whole team at the time. We all attended together. And since then I've been to the odd paid day, but I always make sure to attend the Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting. What we've noticed over the years is like we do become the corporate like weekend that.
Yeah.
Like we had one company one year that sent 40 people and only to the Saturday. So they basically flew everyone. This was from like Denmark or somewhere. They flew their whole team. They obviously did an evening on the Friday, went to the party, then came to the Saturday for SQLBits. So for them, the most cost-effective team, day out, weekend out, that was possible, and they got all the learning and that everyone else does. We'd like people to come for the paid day, but equally happy for people to come and be present on any of the days.
Yeah, that's good. I believe the call for speakers is coming soon. And I just wanted to ask you, basically, for those who are wanting to speak, what's the process in submitting? What type of session they want to talk about? And I suppose, do you have a very quick pointer on what makes a submission stand out?
Oh gosh, yeah. Making a submission stand out is really hard. You've got to you've got to be a salesman. You've got to figure out why someone wants to come to your session. So what's the pain? What's the problem that someone is encountering? And how are you going to solve that? And how are you going to make someone feel better? So trying to hook into what someone's desires are is really important. That also includes someone wants to desire to be better, and so how do you hook into that? So your abstract needs to really be hook into what desire you want to get across. Then you need to explain how you're going to do it and the bits you're going to talk about, and then a summary of like what people are going to get out of it. So those three things are like instrumental. If you've got those, then it will resonate really well. Don't put too much into it. I have a real big beef about people trying to tell people how to build a whole data warehouse in 50 minutes. You're not doing that. Like, you're not like training people to become a like Fabric expert in 50 minutes. Like, give them one thing, like do it really, really well. Because if you can do one thing and people can walk away and knowing like how to choose what SKU of like Fabric, or how to choose what type of SQL install you want, or whether to choose like this index or that index, whether to use like Databricks or Fabric, like trying to like keep it really focused, because it then means when you actually deliver it, one of the biggest feedback items we get is that people walk away thinking they didn't get delivered what was in the abstract. Like, people tried to put too much into it, so didn't deliver it, or the abstract didn't match, and so people get upset.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thinking back on the talks that I've been to, those ones that are quite focused and, pinpoint to a specific problem or a showcase of a solution to something, they've been the ones that I've taken the most out of.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's like, if you are told you're going to get 4 things and you get 3, you're going to be like upset you didn't get the 4th. Whereas if you were told you're only going to get the 3 and you got those 3 and walked away, you've been delivered the same thing, but your expectations are like completely met, and so you're a lot happier. And like, it's all about making people walk away feeling that they have got what they need. There is definitely some AI magic that I'm sure we could apply to abstracts to validate whether they match, or whether they're going to be any good or not. It's hard. Generally, I think like writing words that are succinct is hard. Like, one of the things we used to do was talk about the theme, and we'd give the theme up front, and people would then start putting like titles that were like in line with the theme, and that drove me nuts, because like, it doesn't give any value to the attendee. No. It's just like a bit of like silliness, and invariably it distracted, because people sort of try to shoehorn their topic around the theme, as opposed to being succinct on the theme, on the content of the session. Definitely don't start like injecting up and away and all these things we had when we had the flight theme in Farnborough. It was a bit silly.
I'll keep all that in mind. You never know, in a couple of years I might be submitting a session to speak in a couple of years, and I'll be looking back on this recording to figure out exactly what I need to do.
Yeah. Well, so really good. One of the great things about the community is there are lots of people that have talked about what makes good abstracts, what makes good sessions. And I think the other thing is like, it's not just about like the abstract, it's about picking what to be chosen. Like, how can you be chosen? Like, if you go and do something on query tuning, like, there's going to be like another 50 people that are going to be doing like things on query tuning. So you have to figure out how to try and like pick the topic that is going to like stand out and be pickable, and isn't amongst like another 50 other people. I think a lot of people get upset because they don't get picked, and it's like, why didn't I get picked? And it's like, wow, there was another like 20 sessions talking about X, Y, and Z.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening to this point in the podcast. If you're enjoying the conversation with Simon and want more from SQL Squared in the future, please like the episode and subscribe to the channel. Unfortunately, I've had some technical difficulties with the second half of this episode. For those of you listening in, you'll have nothing to worry about, but if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see my voice and video are completely out of sync. I'm very sorry for the issues, but I hope you still enjoy the rest of the show. Back into it. Bit of a fun section, a quick fire round of questions about conferences, not just SQLBits, but other conferences you might have been to as well. We're about halfway through. And I just have a couple of questions to ask. One essential item you yourself can't survive at a conference without.
That is a very easy one, and that is shoes. I have generally a set of Merrells that are just nice and soft because we walk miles, and being on your feet is just a killer. That's got to be up there, and I'd probably say that most any exhibitors are probably in the same boat. Yeah, standing up for a long time is really hard.
Yeah, so for anyone out there thinking about speaking, get yourself some comfy shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
What's yours?
What's mine? I gotta be honest, when I go to conferences, I always end up getting given most of what I need for free anyway, like notepads and pens. So I travel very light, and you have all the food that you want and the drinks and things that you want, so you don't need to take any of that. But I think, I definitely agree with what you said. You've got to dress comfy. The long days, you could be walking around quite a bit, and, you just kind of got to try and stay comfortable the whole time. So, you can have the best experience possible and also get the most out of the talks. You don't want to be in a scratchy t-shirt sitting there distracted by that deer. You want to be you want to be comfortable.
It's really hard as well because like lots of venues like they have air conditioning. So like, do I go jumper, not jumper, like t-shirt? Like I think having a top that's easy to take off and like putting your bag around your waist is like essential because like yeah, us trying to get like the temperature right is really hard. Like and
I can imagine big places.
some people like it cold, some people like it warm, and so like I would say take a jumper so that if you do get a bit chilly, you can put it on.
Yeah, something like you got on now. You can just take it off, throw it off if you need, throw it back on.
Not too heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we give out pads and pens, and so yeah, you don't need those types of things. But laptop's an interesting one, but
yeah, I've only ever brought my laptop to the paid days just because I'm kind of still on company time. So if they need to pull me out for an emergency or anything, I've always got my laptop in my bag. But yeah, I think there was actually an incident during the last Newport conference where I had to go outside for about half an hour to sort something out.
Eek.
But yeah, it's all right. You mentioned the party a couple of times. What's been your most memorable party theme?
I think it probably goes back to one of the very first times we did a big party, and that was when we went to Telford and we had steampunk. And one of the guys that was part of the team then, James Rodden Jones, came up with this thing. None of us had a Scooby-Doo what steampunk was. Yeah, we went along with it, and we ended up with what was nice was that we had a space at Telford where we'd had the keynote, and that's where we sent people into, and we'd had a DJ with a screen and a bar, and so people thought that was it. And then we had this thing called a kabuki drop, which is basically a big curtain that you can just that gets pulled and dropped down. And behind it, we had a big Victorian sort of like arcade circus thing where we had like a helter skelter and a carousel, and we had some penny farthings to ride on, and it was
really cool.
It was, I think it was because it was the first big thing we'd done, and we had this drop that had this countdown, and people hadn't got Scooby-Doo what was happening, so that was good. There's lots of memorable ones like disco. We had people like coming around in old disco gear. That was quite good. Seeing some data people that you wouldn't expect to be able to dance like if you're watching, you know who you are. It was like quite an eye opener. What's your favourite? You've been to a few?
No, so I've only been to one of the parties before, and again that was last time it was in Newport.
Okay.
The D&D theme that was really, really good, really fun. Like the way, like I said, I like the fancy dress way people were dressed up. And I'm disappointed to say that out of my team of about 5 or 6 people that went, it was just me and one other that ended up going to the party. The others decided they didn't want to be there. It was a bit too much for them, but I had a really, really good time. But yeah, I'd recommend anyone to go to those events. They do add a whole new dimension to the conference.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to make it as inclusive as possible, so that there are lots of people on their own, and going to a party is a bit sort of
It can
daunting.
feel
What's
daunting.
going to happen? So one of the things, I'll talk about some of the things that we do to help that later.
Yeah, nice. One last question on the fun section then. If you could create a session at the conference for any non-technical topic, what would it be? Or what would its title be?
It would be something like understanding people and being able to succeed. I've got a couple of kids that have got diagnosis, and understanding how to deal with them, how to work with them is really opened my eyes. And what I've realized over the years was that when you look at what I've learned there and then apply it to the working practice, it's even more relevant for the workplace. Everyone is trying to succeed, trying to understand why people are doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
No one intentionally does dumb stuff. So understanding people better and getting the most out of them is definitely a thing that people could do a lot better at.
I agree. That's a really good answer. Yeah, it's people think in very different ways, and sometimes you have to accept that, not everyone thinks in the way that you do.
Yeah.
I've been through that the hard way.
I had a guy once that was just doing some really dumb, just why on earth are you doing that? And because the previous job, if he questioned stuff, he got shouted at. And so he didn't question, he just did. And he was doing really, and it's like, dude, I think sometimes you come from a place where, I've been in lots of startups where it's a really flat culture, really open. And so if people don't expect that, then you're expecting them to be open, and they're just like, oh, what's going on? But asking why, it could be the fact that their dog's ill. There could be all of these things that just affect why people do what they do. No one intentionally does bad stuff. Is my stance, and understanding why is important.
I agree. It's a really good answer. That takes me well onto the next topic of learning and career growth, especially in terms of the coming year, the growth within the data industry and the technologies that are out there at the moment in the cloud space, the emergence of AI and cloud native technologies. I'm assuming there'll be quite a few of those topics talked about and be a key focus of SQLBits. What do you think the front and center topics for the conference in 2026 will be?
So we always have to find a balance between the bleeding edge, what everyone's shouting and the hype, and what people are doing day in, day out. And I think that I'm quite proud of the fact that we are pretty good at finding that balance. We're not doing sessions on COBOL and mainframe databases, but SQL Server is still a massive thing, and there is still a lot of people that are trying to do solid stuff with it. And I still have customers that still have problems with indexes and tuning and parameter sniffing and the same things that I was talking about at sessions 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so people still need that stuff. So SQL 2025 imminent, and therefore there's going to be a big push on 2025 content. We used to always really focus on deep dive stuff, and we've done less of that lately. But I think people like to understand. I think people are getting to the point of, I think that's one of the interesting things about some of the cloud technologies is you get this massive adoption curve, and then you realize, oh, actually we need to operate this. We need to optimize it and tune it and reduce costs, and therefore understanding how things work becomes really important to be able to do that. So having some of the deep dives into some of those data technologies so that you can get the most out of your data flows or your Databricks pipelines, or your even just doing SQL. SQL's changing every year, so some of that stuff. I think probably one of the big things that two big things this year is how to help how to use AI to help you in your job.
Very important.
We hear about these swarms of you go and get a swarm of agents go and write code for you. Jimmy, my experience with data is that that's not as great outcome as maybe you get in building a website, especially writing DAX. I mean, if you ever tried to get Copilot to write DAX, that's quite interesting.
I've worked with team members that have tried to do it and kind of sat next to them watching it. Interesting output. I always say on this podcast, because we do talk about AI and the use of AI in development quite a lot. I always say within data, there's that extra dimension of the data that sits underneath. And it seems to be quite difficult for the AI bots to truly understand that dimension of it, which isn't there when you're developing a website, for example.
Yeah, I think it's like developing a year-to-date calculation, for revenue, has maybe some little semantic differences, based on your data and how you're storing it, and those things, I think are harder to understand. But we're using it day in, day out to simplify things, to get things done, and there's definitely some ways of working to make it work really well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that's tried sort of hello world thing, it's great, I can do a hello world easy. As you start iterating on it, it becomes really it can become really messy. And so it's how do you use agents to help you with what you're doing, but not end up in a real pickle? And it's a bit like writing a query. If anyone from a SQL background has always seen entity framework queries and how they used to be, and it's they look like they've been written by a monkey just bashing on the keyboard. And I think sometimes you look at some of the things developed by agents, and you end up with something similar. So that's I think key is how do you use it in your day job? And then obviously the flip of that is, because with data, is how do you get the data that you're governing or your organization has got, and enable the use of that and apply AI on top of it to help drive your business. So I think those are the two facets of AI. Very different, I think, topics, just with that AI banner.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because it's just changing all the time.
Yeah. It's so fast.
And it is and it isn't. It's just a lot of it is the same stuff.
Underneath it's
just called a different thing.
Yeah, there's always a new buzzword going around.
Yeah, and there's also a goal to try and help those that are trying to lead in data positions, how to drive direction, choose technology, build a team, structure a team, those types of things, so that you can succeed. One of the nice things about SQLBits is that we've got people that have been coming for years and are now in much higher positions and probably aren't tapping a keyboard and writing SQL anymore. So how do you end up being successful in those more management positions?
Yeah. The more you talk about it, the wider breadth of topics that are applicable to the conference, and I suppose that's why you need such a large space and so many rooms and sessions all going on to try and cover them all.
Yeah. Not quite going back to the level we had at Farnborough. I think we had 14 concurrent sessions. We had 300 speakers. It's
Who's the conference for? Who should be attending?
So I think if you're a data professional, especially in the Microsoft or Azure space, so whether it's SQL Server or Fabric, or even Databricks on Azure, then you will find content that will help you succeed. And I think the big depth is that we have worldwide industry experts that will help you get to the point of success quicker. They have got the warts and all. They know what works, what doesn't work. And so if you want to succeed as a data professional, a data engineer, data analyst, then it's definitely a place for you.
No, that's good. I mean, yeah, and I fit perfectly into that bucket. And that's the exact reason that I've attended in the past and will continue to attend moving forward. So yeah, I second that. If there are any data professionals out there, the type of people that listen to this podcast, SQLBits is the place for you.
Yeah. And everyone's a polyglot now, like DBA, data engineer, data analyst, Power BI, report user. Like you're tasked with doing many things, many hats. And I think that's what's great about SQLBits is that there is content for everybody at whatever level you want.
Yeah, and whatever area of your job that you're wanting to get more knowledge or career growth around, there's always something there and it fits in perfectly. Well, for those that have listened all the way through to this point and maybe haven't been to SQLBits before and are now getting quite excited about the prospect of going, moving on to the final topic, I suppose, can you let the audience know how and where they can get their tickets to next year's conference?
So if you go to SQLBits.com, you can look at all the ticket options. We're currently in early bird pricing, which runs till the end of November. And with that, you get really good value entry to the conference. The more days you attend, the cheaper it is. And this year we've got lots of hotel rooms at different price points. It can be a one-stop all. The only thing we don't sort out for you is your travel. We provide breakfast, lunch, dinner on, I think, most nights. So you could literally just drive, sleep in your hotel, come and get fed by us, and all's good.
No, that's great. For the listeners out there, Simon has very kindly provided us a small discount code. So if you go to the SQLBits.com website and you want to attend any of the paid days at the conference, you can use the discount code SQL Squared 2026. That's SQL Squared 2026, and you should get a small discount off the price. Thank you very much for that, Simon.
Pleasure.
Simon, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to give us an inside scoop on SQLBits 2026 and what it means for everyone attending. It sounds like an unmissable event, and we really appreciate you sharing all the details with us.
Thanks for having me on and let me talk about my pet topic. Thanks so much.
Your passion project. And a huge thank you to everyone listening. We hope this has given you a great insight into what makes SQLBits so special and encourages you to join in 2026 and potentially future years. To get tickets and learn more, head over to the SQLBits website. We'll have a link in the description below, but that's SQLBits.com. Don't forget to use the discount code SQL Squared 2026. And for more data-related content, visit our website, sqlsquared.co.uk, and feel free to send us your questions at mailbag@sqlsquared.co.uk. We'd love to hear from you. That's all for this episode. Keep learning, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.